Stephen Colbert addressing a big story at the intersection of politics and media as the late night host, Colbert, and his employer, CBS, duke it out. He says the network blocked his interview with Texas Democratic Senate candidate James Tallarico from airing on TV. He also accuses CBS parent company Paramount of not standing up to, quote, bullies over new FCC guidance on equal time for political candidates. But CBS says Colbert is not telling the whole story. MS Now reporter Nick McCool shares more on the Late Show controversy.
There's another big story today that I never got to over in my monologue, and it's me.
Stephen Colbert addressing the firestorm over an interview with Texas Democratic Senate candidate James Tallarico, which was slated to air Monday night but did not appear on the broadcast.
He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
That decision, Colbert said, came after FCC Chairman Brendan Carr posted guidance from the commission last month, saying late-night shows may not qualify for an exemption to the rule that political candidates for office must be given equal time on the air.
He had not gotten rid of it yet, but CBS generously did it for him and told me unilaterally that I had to abide by the equal time rules, something I have never been asked to do for an interview in the 21 years of this job.
In a statement Tuesday, CBS said The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview, saying Colbert was presented with options to provide equal time. On Tuesday night, Colbert said his original monologue recounting the dispute was approved by CBS lawyers.
I am well aware that we can book other guests. I didn't need to be presented with that option.
The exemption in question is for bona fide news interviews. In 2006, the FCC ruled that an interview on Jay Leno's Tonight Show with then California incumbent gubernatorial candidate Arnold Schwarzenegger qualified as such an interview. But Carr says that exemption doesn't necessarily apply to all late-night talk shows, especially those motivated by partisan purposes.
If Kimmel or Colbert want to continue to do their programming and they don't want to have to comply with this requirement or other public interest obligations like prohibitions on broadcast hoax or news distortion, then they can go to a cable channel or a podcast or a streaming service, and that's fine.
The lone Democratic commissioner on the FCC, Ana Gomez, ripped the network for stopping the interview, writing CBS is fully protected under the First Amendment to determine what interviews it airs, which makes its decision to yield to political pressure all the more disappointing. Guardian U.S. media and power reporter Jeremy Barr.
Really what this is about is Brendan Carr, who is one of Donald Trump's sort of main enforcers of putting pressure on media companies that tend to be critical of him, basically trying to use the rule book in a way that can sort of curb some of these shows and these networks that are critical of him.
Tallarico's Late Show appearance, posted on YouTube, has garnered millions of views.
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
Tallarico addressing the controversy on MS Now Tuesday night.
The most powerful people in the country, the most powerful politicians, and the most powerful corporate executives are working together to sell out the First Amendment.
We reached out to the FCC for comment and have not heard back. And we should note just yesterday, Warner Brothers Discovery said it would reopen talks with CBS's parent company, Paramount Skydance, about a potential merger. Any final deal would need approval from the federal government. Back to you.
Nick McCool reporting there. So, Jim Vandehei, a lot to say here. First of all, that this is a gift, a political gift to James Tallarico, who made hay of it at a rally last night and says, this administration does not want me taking the Senate seat. They're worried about me. That's one part of it. And also just this selective enforcement by the FCC going after Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, who, it is no coincidence, are both critical of President Trump each and every night. What do you make of this situation and really the invocation of a FCC guideline that hasn't been used in a very, very long time, as Nick says?
Well, in that package, Nick says that we should note that Paramount is in negotiations or wants to be able to buy Warner Brothers. I think you should more than note it. It is a complete backdrop of this entire story. The reason that Paramount has been bending over backwards to do everything it can to placate the administration is it wants favorable treatment and being able to get a massive deal done that could take it and escalated to being one of the most powerful content providers, certainly in the United States, if not on Earth. And so they have a heavy incentive to do it. That's obviously getting kind of pushed together with this heavy-handedness of the federal government, which conservatives should hate this too. Like the idea that you have the federal government micromanaging businesses or micromanaging who's on what show when is just not a great precedent for anybody, right? Like, especially if you're a party that stands for free speech. Certainly, like Colbert and others have had many, many guests on in the past, and obviously he is aware you could have the Democratic or the Republican opponents in Texas on the show if he wants, but it's just a really dangerous precedent. And it also plays into this controversy of ever since Bari Weiss took over CBS, there's just a lot of drama inside that network. A lot of people don't like her. A lot of people feel like the network itself is trying to placate Trump. So you have a lot of different plots, subplots happening in this drama.
Well, if a lot of people feel like they are trying to placate Trump, well, let's validate those feelings. Of course, they're trying to placate Trump with every move they make, every breath they take, every step they take. Placate, placate, placate. Why don't they just unfurl a banner across CBS News' headquarters on, what is it, 57th Street?
Like the Saudis.
And say, please, please, please approve the merger. Please approve. Because that's all it's about. Everybody's known that from the second they hired Bari Weiss. This was not about news. It's just not. It's been about this deal, which Paramount has been obsessed with for, well, since I was golfing with somebody this summer. And they said, what do you think about Bari Weiss? They said, this isn't about Bari Weiss. This isn't about news. This is about them getting Warner Brothers Discovery. By the way, I have not golfed in the snow. So this was like 9 months ago. This is like my torts professor said, anybody should have seen this coming at them like a freight train out of the mist. I do want to say, though, John Meacham, I'm struck by the sheer stupidity of people in Washington, D.C. Time and time and time again. And this belief that the only checks and balances in America, and we've talked about this before, come from Madisonian democracy and the Constitution. There are a million checks and balances all over the planet. And I said this after they talked about taking Colbert off the air. I said, okay, so you think you can whack that mole over here and take Colbert off the air? Well, 3 days later, you're going to give South Park's creators a couple of $1 billion to turn it up to 11 and to go after Donald Trump and the administration and J.D. Vance in a way Colbert never could do. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. As #1 streamer on Paramount, worst case scenario for those who said, oh, maybe we can silence content creators at Paramount. It's the same thing here. The second I saw this dust up, I go, oh my God, who is the luckiest man in the world politically? The candidate who was, quote, banned. So you can go and say the most powerful people in America, the most powerful regulators, they're scared of data. I mean, which happens to be true here. But, again, in America, you try to whack that mole, it's going to pop up somewhere else. There's so many checks and balances. There's so many diverse power centers. It's pretty impossible. And so now, you don't want, and there's been my argument from the very beginning, and I'll bring this in for a landing because I know your answer is going to be even longer. I said this from the very beginning. You take him off of there and you take Colbert off of the network. What have you allowed him to do? Now he can create content online, get probably 10 times as many viewers with absolutely no restrictions at all.
Right. And you made an essential point a moment ago, which and when you were playing golf, I hope you mentioned this in the grill to the Peter Millar Republicans who were eating chicken salad. This is not conservative. This is, and I think we need to stop if we can. It's so hard because the vernacular, so it's like the air we breathe. But this is not a conservative movement. This is using the power of the state to tell institutions what to do. The point of conservatism was to minimize the role of the state, allowing the private sector to be as predominant as possible. Mm-hmm. And so I remember talking to a sane Republican who had only had a political career pre-Trump, who was genuinely puzzled, business guy, genuinely puzzled that his supporters, his donors, his friends who'd given him money in the 12 cycle and the 16 cycle didn't understand this. And it was the pressure on, he was talking about, I think, Governor DeSantis in Florida was the context for this, right? When they were trying to pressure Disney to do something. It's just not conservative. And the other thing, you're exactly right, the unintended consequences is when you try to ban someone or silence someone, Ronald Reagan was right? The Bill Buckley conservatives were right. Mankind wants to be free. They want to be heard. They will find a way to do it.
All right, still ahead on Morning Joe. We're going to get...
Mika.
Sorry, Joe, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was supposed to go to Jim Vandehei really quickly.
You're right.
Jim, no, my fault. Jim Vandehei, though, of course, we always talk about the hypocrisy of these, so-called conservative free speechers. These free speech absolutists who have just turned into, of course, oppressors of free speech, left and right. We see it time and time again, trying to get people arrested in the workplace for tweets. In this case, this is a deep cut as far as right-wing hypocrisy, because you'll remember it was the right that despised the equal time doctrine. And it was Reagan's gutting of the equal time doctrine that elevated who? Rush Limbaugh. And conservative media rose on the gutting of the equal time doctrine. And they've always been against it, but now suddenly, we can't allow a late-night comedian to interview a primary candidate in the state. It's just absolutely absurd.
Right, and it's what we keep coming back to about you're playing with fire, because what are you going to do when a Democratic administration does this to you and does it to your side? It's not like viewers aren't stupid. They understand that Colbert is probably a left-of-center comedian, right? Just like someone watching Fox News late at night understands that they're listening to someone who comes from a conservative perspective. That's why when you work from an absolute kind of free speech doctrine, it's like the fairest way to go about it, because you trust that individuals can have discernment and can make judgment. The minute that you put government into it, it becomes inherently ideological and not right now inherently punitive.